saw the deer that I was interested in. So I was like, all right, so this is what I'm gonna do on opening day. And so early morning, I slept at Wheatfields Lake, and then I took off before the sun came up. Got to my spot, got out of my truck, started walking, and I said, man, this is where those deer were coming out. And I was kind of disappointed, like, oh man, I don't see nothing. And just then I seen that group of deer, that big old buck that I wanted to shoot was just just like time that everything was working for what I was doing. And that buck didn't see me, and it was coming with the other smaller bucks, and it stopped right at 20 yards. So I drew back on that buck, and my mind was that deer was already in the back of my truck. That's how confident I was at that time. I was like, this guy's already, he's done. I'm gonna harvest him, and then we're gonna go home. And literally, when I drew back my bow and I put the pin on him, and as soon as I literally let it go, and the arrow was taken off on the left side of me, way about probably I would say 200 yards. You
Hmm.
just hear raw, like really loud. And these deer knew exactly what it was. On that sheet, they were probably coming from whatever was following them, but they spun, and that big buck turned his butt like that, and my arrow hit right on his hind end and went into his body. And I was disappointed because that's not a lethal shot.
Yeah.
And those bucks, they took off. They took off from me, and they kept running straight. And they went probably about 150 yards, and I just slowly followed. And I was trying to keep an eye on that buck that I wounded because I didn't want it to, die and just, go to waste. And so I followed it, and he actually bedded. He was laying down, and I said, okay. So I got up to where I knew was about 50 yards. My goal was 50 yards, and I would just put another arrow in him. So I knelt down, and then he didn't see me. I put an arrow in, and I drew back. And this time, when I drew back to right here, a lot closer again over here, this Bigfoot screamed out really loud. It does a raw, like there's a big scream, and I'm like, man, I was like, is that real? Is that really happening? And so these bucks, they all got up again. They took off. This buck was injured, but he kept going. He kept going. He was like wobbling every now and then, but he kept going. And they went this time another probably about 300 yards, and I just slowly followed them and got to there. And then in this one, I just kind of like, they were like 75 to 80 yards away, and I was like, I need to get closer. So as I was walking, I didn't even put a knock and arrow or nothing, but I was still walking. And for a third and final time, this Bigfoot was a lot closer. I would say 100 yards, and he screamed out. And this time, this one kind of shook me, and he screamed out really loud, and I was